All right, good morning, Cyber Traders. Welcome on back here to close out our week here this Friday, October 14th. Great to see Michael and Leda and Grant and all of us inside the live trading room. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Let's get things started, folks. We have this LASE trade pushing back up for what, like the third, fourth straight day in a row here. This stock ended up making a nice pop prior to 8 o'clock, and then just recently, unfortunately, it tried to make that squeeze and break the pop over $5. But it fell flat. Ended up breaking above it, but ended up just really getting weak. No real pop and reaction that you would want to see off that level. Not ruling it out, but as far as a pre-market trade, if it's not going to break higher, there's only one other way the stock is going to go at the time. So, hey, this stock LASE, we ended up doing really well on back from yesterday, back from Wednesday of last week too. So just to show this, at least from yesterday, what we caught in pre-market early this yesterday morning off of 320, popped early prior to 7 o'clock, then ended up making a nice move after the market had opened up, broke over $4 again, ran up 50 plus cents north. So great trade at the time. Again, though, what goes up eventually comes back down. If it's not going to look to break any higher, it's going to break lower. So it ended up breaking below support. Thankfully, it ended up moving back up for like a mid-afternoon play. That was nice to have. But then even now this morning, albeit it's making the lower highs, it's still pretty strong. It's up 19 plus percent. You know what? We got a little time here. I don't mind just checking Benzinga Pro just out of curiosity for any news. It doesn't influence my decision making, honestly, but just out of curiosity. So Laser Photonics, news came out, it looks like. Shares trading higher after the company announced that it is implementing an aggressive hiring campaign due to sizable increase in leads and inquiries. All right, well, that's the news that came out at 8:22 this morning. Actually, the first headline at 7:04, but nonetheless, nice reaction early on for the LASE trade. Hopefully, this keeps pushing. It's a new IPO, so as much as we've been following the stock, really the majority of this week, well, it only came out like a week before that, maybe a week before that. So, all-time high is at 550. It's getting pretty close there, folks. So, once this could pop 550, there's no historical resistance to work with there. So, yeah, definitely for right now, we'll put the LASE trade at least on our watch list. All right, so I'll tell you, market obviously is pushing up from yesterday. No need to really recap what we all ended up seeing yesterday, right? Coming off the CPI report, everything ended up bouncing back up. Everything ended up popping back up. It was a beautiful day. So, a lot of these name brand companies and stocks that we had on our list, I mean, hey, we were just following the market. So yesterday morning, the chip stocks were down big, like NVIDIA and AMD and, that ETF, SOXL. All moved up heading into the late morning, early afternoon. Really good runs on all of them. Neo, Affirm, any of these sideless stocks that we tend to trade, on and off, they all ended up moving up yesterday. So let's go from top to bottom. I'm sure that we could run into a couple of them here as we go through, but let's see what we could add here to our main morning watch list as the LASE begins to sneak back up to 5. All right, so IMRA, this stock also we ended up trading yesterday, but it was really brief. Like one of us had called it out, and at the time it was kind of like low volume, but we ended up trading it for a little bit, ended up making a much better push this morning in pre-market, ended up pushing up really well from like 3 upwards to like 350, ended up breaking that going into the 8 o'clock move right here, pushing up to 4. So, IMRA, really nice run from yesterday. I thought it was off lower volume at the time, but definitely trading good volume here this morning. Looking flat here going into the open. So perhaps we'll shake down first, retest that 350 to be support, and then we'll see what can happen out of this trade. So, yeah, looks great for right now. IMRA, we'll put this on our list here. All right, we had the IMRA, we had the ATXI also in pre-market early this morning, and this is still pushing. Stock that we ended up trading really for the last a couple of weeks on and off. We ended up catching this run up, but then eventually it came back down. And then on top of that, I think news came out of like a common stock offering or direct offering of shares that ended up diluting the price of the stock for quite a bit. So now it's made a pretty strong push. But what I want to show here is I made a call out inside the trading room earlier. I hope that everyone saw it and took advantage of this as it's pushing. Hey, I said ATXI has a gap to fill, and I was referring to the daily chart there. If it could break over the price 307, I wrote that at 8:45 Eastern time this morning. Looks like John just got out at 327, so he ended up taking profits from earlier. Hey, this stock has a big gap to fill. You can see it drop down here, gap down from the 6th into the 7th, Thursday into Friday last week. I think that's where we ended up seeing the direct offering of shares news announcement. Well, the high here this day was 307. So once it could break that, which it did earlier, much better run that we're getting. So ATXI, we're going to, put this back on our list. Hopefully it continues. For as much as this ended up running up here in pre-market, I would like to think it's going to pull back, find some support after, and then we'll see what could happen. Nice push up to 340 here, getting close to 350. All right, let's see what else we have here, folks. The NTNX trade. This was like more spotty throughout pre-market. Maybe this could be earnings related. I'll just double check. This stock we have called out off of news or, off a big move in the past, I remember. So NTNX shares trading higher, not earnings. They're trading higher following a Wall Street Journal report indicating the company is exploring a sale after receiving takeover interest. Buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So it's possible to see this, continue to push up later on this morning or shortly thereafter. And I don't mind putting this on our watch list for right now. Probably be near the middle or bottom by the end of it. I like the first three a lot more so far. And perhaps this one as well. TTOO, pulled back a little bit after the 8 o'clock move, but if it could re-break back over 3, hold above that price, well, that could be a nice second win type of move here for this trade. So T2, TTOO, we'll put on our list. We're familiar with this one also. All right, now we're kind of dipping into the cheapies here, like 40-cent stock, 12-cent stock. Skip over all of that, and then we're dipping into under 5% pretty much from that point, right? All right, let's see if there's anything else looking just as good, perhaps on the loser side. Maybe all the name brand stocks are like maybe up 3%, 4%, just not on this, scan here so far. But let's see what's on the loser side for right now. Not a whole lot that's down big, like percentage wise. I remember yesterday we had a stock like RLMD that was down 85, 90%, led to a nice pre-market dead cat bounce at that point. There's nothing like that here on the loser side this morning. Wouldn't have expected name brand to be on the loser side here unless if it's earnings, but we'll check out the IMUX perhaps. IMUX was a huge runner from yesterday, back from Wednesday of this week as well. I was surprised to see how well it ended up trending up heading into the mid to late morning here. Topped off right off big level 1015. I know that Fausto is going to look to go over this example actually in his introductory webinar later on this morning. So for all of us on YouTube, Facebook Live, just make sure you go right to our website, register for our introductory to day trading webinar event later on this morning. Fausto does that every week. He's going to go over this IMUX example here and seeing how a big iceberg order was pinning this down under 1015 up until, well, it ended up holding here off support, pushing up, and as soon as it broke back over 1015, ended up leading to a really strong continued move up. Now, at that point, though, it ended up topping off right directly off of a historical level that Robert and I caught together on a coaching call right from the weekly chart here. This 1165, 1170-ish was a really strong support. I'm sure that there could be a little historical resistance, perhaps above 12 here, but otherwise we were focused on 1166, the line that you just saw right there. Well, it ended up topping off there, right? Led to actually a great top on the intraday and a great reversal for a short. Put that line back to 66 there. Now, hey, heading into the market open, this stock is very tradable, not really showing great direction here at least, but it's down over 5%. It's shortable again on my platform, which is nice. So perhaps we could take advantage of this like we did from yesterday and the drop-off that we caught off the highs. But yeah, heading into the open, the IMUX we'll keep on our radar here. Not everything's up. Not everything's up. Plug, actually like my arch nemesis lately, ended up dropping off quite a bit here. We'll take a look at the news. So this is earnings related, I believe. Plug sees fiscal year 22 revenue just compared to the estimates, I guess not as good. Says the revenue impact reflects some larger projects that are potentially being completed in 2023 instead of 2022 due to the timing and broader supply chain issues. So that report just came out at 9 o'clock, 9:01 Eastern. Big drop off right away on Plug. I'm sure FCell will go with it in sympathy, but this is like watching paint dry. So I have no interest in FCell. Plug is extremely tradable, not just in terms of the pace and the move. You can get more cents per share likely on a trade for this stock, but it's just as liquid. This stock trades really good volume on a day-to-day, penny spread at that, and we'll have a very filled-in order book when the market does open. So keep that in mind for Plug. I don't have my book map, my level 4 open for this trade, but you could even see here the volume increased as it ended up breaking under 18. So I would assume, and this actually confirms it, 18 is a big level. Looking at the volume bar histogram here for my TradeStation Matrix, this is my level 3 program right here. All right, so there's one name brand company, a stock that we at least are really familiar with inside our live trading room. But that's just about it. Not a whole lot left on the loser side. Dipped under 5% rather fast. We'll take a look at stocks like NEO. NEO's up, near 2.5%. Just a beautiful move up though right now. I'll be likely following that here heading into the open personally. But let's see what looks best from all these sideless stocks. It seems like the Chinese EV companies are moving well in tandem. So Li and XPEV and whatnot. So the cruise lines move up pretty nicely earlier this morning. CCL trades a ton of volume day to day, like one of the most heavily traded stocks early in the morning throughout pre-market and, of course, throughout the entire day. But, yeah, hey, CCL is making the same type of gradual move up as NEO. Oh, that's right, Chuck. All right, well, maybe I could look for this on the swing side coming up later into the morning or even into the afternoon. But Mara is pushing back up again, very similar to the others that we ended up just looking at. We're going to go over the swing trading course coming up, folks. Later on this morning, we'll reiterate all the details to you folks as far as what's ahead. 1 week from today, our swing trading program, our course is going to be launching next Friday. Live classes will begin next Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And I'd mentioned to us inside the live trading room yesterday, and for all of us on social media, even from last week, I took a couple of swings on Mara, did well on the first, and the second I ended up taking a small loss. Thankfully, I got out in time before the crap storm ended up really coming down hard, last week. But with that, I'm interested in Mara. So perhaps later this morning or even heading into the early afternoon, should we see a retracement, small retracement on the S&P, then perhaps I can gear myself up for a swing entry. All right, but we'll tell you more about that at least heading into the market open. All right, there's the link for all of us in social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. That's going to be in our YouTube comments section right there for all of us live right now. If you're interested in joining us at 11 o'clock Eastern time for our live trading crash course, NASDAQ Book Viewer. I believe it's active trading using the NASDAQ Book Viewer is the title, but feel more than free to click on that link to register. Any questions that you folks have, feel more than free to send over through email as well. Always like to post my email here at the end of these streams, josh@c2trading.com. Just checking out Benzinga Pro here. Lastly, folks, before we wrap up, all of the sideless stocks that we normally trade, they look good. NEO, Mara, airlines, cruise lines. I'm not going to put any one in particular on the list for that reason. I'm going to have 40 stocks on the list if I do that. So, they all look good. Mara, NEO, the airlines. So if you personally do well on a stock that's trending up, that has great liquidity in pre-market, then I'm sure you're going to be more inclined to follow it, right? But otherwise, we have a really good list on top, though, between the LASE, the IMRA, and a few others, otherwise. All right, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I believe that Fausto will be back for you folks come Monday morning next week just to do the morning meetings again. It was nice to tag in for him, but I know that he's itching and looking forward to getting back to doing his normal, meetings with you folks here in the morning. But for all of us inside the live trading room, he'll be joining us back at the opening bell, so he'll be right with us here at 9:30 coming up. So for Michael, Brian, Simon, Chuck, Grant, and all of us here live, I look forward to talking to you folks pretty soon. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.